Gone are the days where that is a winning strategy. That no longer works.
Smart Talk, where we help you go from truck to CEO by working smarter, not harder. I'm your host, Anatai Zubia, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, money. Specifically, what profitable movers are doing differently. Our guest today is Tracy Bech, author of Minute CFO. She has worked behind the scenes with dozens of moving companies, and she knows exactly what separates a real business from one that is starting to burn out. Tracy, welcome to Smart Talk.
Hi, Anatai. Thank you for having me.
Tracy, you have had a front row seat. And when I say front row seat, not just riding in the truck, but like actually looking at the data to how movers are running businesses, right? Financially, operationally. When you're looking at moving companies that you're working with for the first time, what is telling you that they're solid, or what are the signs that they're about to fall apart?
It's a couple of things. And if we are lucky enough to have financials to look at, and I'll just pause there because a lot of times folks don't have them. They don't have access to timely and accurate financials. So they might exist, but they don't look at them. They might not exist and they're way behind on their bookkeeping. So right there, that's a huge red flag. So we don't want ancient history. We want to know at, the 15th of this month, the close of last month. So that's step one. And then of course, we can go into all kinds of KPIs and benchmarks within your financials that show up if you're doing really well. The other one is just, do we have a clearly defined org chart? And these are what I like to call the boring business basics. We usually think we don't need one. Like, it's a lot of times people think, oh, I'm so small, or we're just not there yet. We don't need that. But I can guarantee you that if you don't have one, even if it's the most simple one, even if there's just two boxes on the org chart and it's you at the top and a driver below you, right? It's if you don't have that level of clarity to at least scale from, you will probably have excess and inefficient headcount eventually, which will end up majorly impacting your bottom line. Those two things, if we don't have timely and accurate financials, and if we don't have an org chart, like right there and then I can say you're probably struggling. Or about to.
Those are great jumping off points. If you're thinking about your org chart, you're treating your people like business assets inside the company. And so that is that data that you're looking for. So those two things go together hand in hand. So if you're listening there and you don't have access to your data, you need to start asking those questions. Where does this data live and why am I not tracking it? Even if it's to start on a spreadsheet somewhere, you can't scale what you can't track. And then that other component, if you don't have an org chart right now, there's 1,000 templates out there, but even if you're micro, just create the little org chart and start to build on that. That's great advice. I've heard you mention some of our movers. If we're talking about profit, right? Not all moves are created equal. I know when you're early in business, you're just like, work is work and we're excited to have the work. Work can turn you upside down if you're not thinking about the right things. So what should these movers, especially these growth guys, be thinking about when they're deciding what work they should take?
Well, I just had a really fun debate with an owner about this. It's volume versus margin, right? So we have this tendency to think that if people are sitting around and we don't have a full schedule, it would be better to do some work than no work. And to your point, Anatai, is that true, right? And to what extent might it be true? And then what will it do to our business? And so there's a couple of things that in order to figure that out, we have to unpack. And not all revenue is created equal. And not all expenses are the same. And what I mean by that is the way those expenses behave. So revenue is not all equal because we all know this intuitively, but taking on a local household goods move versus taking on a office and industrial move will have different profitability levels attached to them, just simply by definition, right? It takes different types of labor and different amounts of labor to do those jobs. And so what that means is it takes a different cost of labor as well. So, and then correspondingly, we'll have different amounts of money left over to run the rest of our business with. And if we start going for volume and we're not tracking what the margin is, and if we decrease our prices to a point where we could get break even or even upside down on the work, then of course now we're paying to move people, irregardless of the type of move. But it also means that we are swaying two other things, right? We are definitely doing work at a margin that then doesn't leave enough money to keep the lights on right? So to pay
Yep.
our administrative labor, to pay our rent, to pay our utilities, to pay our insurance. So again, now we are basically paying to do that work. And the other piece is we are also doing bad things for the industry. We're in a race to the bottom. It's a downward spiral for pricing in our industry, right? In our market. So if you're willing to do below margin work, you're saying to the industry, yeah, that's what we should be pricing ourselves at. And that will do nobody good. So that's a little more esoteric, but it is true. Like we really owe it to ourselves to do at margin. We need to know what our margins need to be, which is a whole other topic. But once we start doing either below margin or break even work, it just starts to erode our business. And you might not notice it today, but I guarantee you do that for enough months in a row and you will wonder why you no longer are profitable on the bottom line.
Yeah, it just eats away. It's like rust on a vehicle. It just continues to spread. If you're now paying to make this move, that's going to hit all your other resources. Like, are you going to be able to hire the best team to do the job? Then are you going to be delivering the best job? And then are you getting the reviews that you actually want? Now you're overstretching yourself and you're not making money and you're not doing a great job. That'll crush you in every single way possible. But yeah, knowing that we don't go into business to break even, guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly that. I mean, movers are not nonprofit organizations here, guys. So I think it's like, that's the big core is know this stuff, know your value, and know that there's always going to be somebody out there in the market that's making this mistake, but they're not going to be around very long.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we don't want that to be you. So
Absolutely not.
yeah, absolutely not. And I know we talked about margins, but I think in the movers that I've spoken with, I hear one nasty word when it comes to margins: seasonality.
Mhm.
Seasonality just crushes those margins if they're not able to get ahead of that. And so when you're coaching movers, do you have any go-to advice for how they could really think about staying profitable throughout the entire year?
Yeah. So listen, I've been doing this long enough to have run up against plenty of people who've been in business for over 100 years, right? And those companies, their strategy for year-round profitability was to maximize peak season and then make it through the rest, right? So basically come into the off season with a pile of money and hope it doesn't run out before the next peak season hits. And I just need to let everybody know, this is a public service announcement, is gone are the days where that is a winning strategy. That no longer works. And in fact, that's a good thing because that was also one of the most risky things you could do because it means you're one season away from financial ruin, right? And if you have a 100-year-old balance sheet, you probably have a bit of a fortress that you can rely on, and you might even be able to make it through 5 bad years. But those are not the companies that are the majority anymore, right? Like those are the minority. So what do we do instead? No longer can we just say, oh, we'll just make a hay when the sun is shining. We have to actually learn other ways to make hay and when the sun isn't shining. So we have to diversify. We have to find alternate revenue streams that we can use that are not peak season driven. So in other words, not local household goods, not household goods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other reason that that really benefits us as movers is because we have no control over whether or not somebody moves. So we have to find other things that we can do, right? So those are things that use the same types of labor and assets that we already have within our company. So and we should be able to rattle these off, right? Office and industrial, designer work, hotel work, distribution. And then there's lots of other cool little things that I've seen people do, like Christmas light installations
Yeah.
and, things that require trucks and labor and being a great customer service company, right? There's a lot of things we can do when we start to think very creatively and accept the truth that we really can't wait around for peak. Like that is just not a strategy that works. We just can't do it. It's just any company that I see that isn't diversified is struggling. Right? If I just see household goods as the revenue, I have to wonder, how are you doing? It's tough.
Yep, exactly. It's putting all your eggs in one basket. But so I think if I was going to them, and this is the marketer in me, right? Where I tell people, I'm like, focus on something you do really, really, really well, you've obviously focused. That's the first step. If residential is your bread and butter, amazing. That doesn't mean you stop doing it. It doesn't mean you stop scaling it. What it means is now pick something else that is not reliant on that seasonality and start to get really, really good at that. And I mean, Tracy, you gave them so many options. I'll tell you personally, I hosted an event once and I actually got all the tables and chairs and the entire setup done by a moving company. In fact, they stored those things in their warehouse and brought them out, set it all up for my event, came back, broke down, and they were fantastic and would hire them again. So that ebb and flow of seasonality, that is one mistake ready to crush your business, and it's just not scalable anymore. So the diversification, think about what that means for you in this next year. This is hitting home for anyone out there, right? This is Smart Talk. I definitely want you guys to like, subscribe, drop some comments down below. If there's questions that you have for Tracy, or if there's other insights that you want us to dig more into, drop those down there. We read every single comment. We answer every single question. So I really like that you said boring business basics. That's the best acronym I think I've ever heard. It makes me chuckle. One of the things you're hammering on is that boring business basics, right? And they're actually the difference makers. So I'd like to spend a little bit more time on like, what are those? What does that actually mean? I mean, you mentioned org chart, but I know that there's much more to it.
Yeah. So, and this is actually, even though our specialty here at 60 Minute CFO is financial fluency, it's actually, there's a whole chapter in the book dedicated to this. So if you already have a copy of that, or if you're interested in picking one up, there is this in there, but it's also
We'll
literally
drop a link in the comments.
I'll drop a link, and it's a soft sell. You do you if you don't want to read, but any business book will also bring these to light. So these are by no means trademarked. It's literally your org chart. It is your mission statement. It is your vision statement. It is your core values. It's your reason for existing. And I want to walk into your moving company and I want to see the core values on the warehouse wall. I want to see them in the background of every all hands meeting that you hold. I want them to be able to be something that you shine a light on so that as you're having a review or you're having to, put a performance improvement plan in place for somebody, I want you to say, hey, do you think that the way you acted on that move is upholding our key core value of integrity or respect? It's something that will come back to support you as a leader over and over and over again. And it will take a huge burden off of you and put it back on the company. The company will now support you because it has a personality, a persona of its own. And the reason the mission is really important is because it says what you do and do not do. Right? So especially if you have a co-founder or a partner or board of directors, if you have management leadership team meetings and you want everyone to understand and you're getting shiny object syndrome or you're getting decision fatigue and you're not able to decide, your mission statement lines it out, right? Well, this is not in our mission, so I don't know why we're talking about it. The vision is like getting in a car. If you do not have one, it is like literally saying we're going on a road trip and we have no idea where we're going. We're just going. And we don't know where. And we'll just end up wherever. And the vision says it says where we're going. It says how long it's going to take. And it gives us a little bit of boundary, right? It says, this is the thing. So we rally around it, right? And you will have longer tenure. You're going to have more buy-in. You're going to have better morale when these things are done and checked off. And you're going to feel supported by it because now it's no longer in your head. You can literally shine a light. You put all three of those things on the wall. I want to see all of it. And it's cheesy, right? It's so old school, and it's the reason it's lasted the test of time is because it really works, right? And again, the companies that I come in and see this happening, you wouldn't be the first one to do it. I see companies, they have their core values on the warehouse wall. Those companies, believe it when I say it, have higher profitability than the ones who don't. So if you like money, I would highly recommend checking all your business basics off the list. It makes a huge difference.
I love it. It's your DNA. It becomes the DNA of your company. And I know even here at SmartMoving, we start every single all hands meeting with a reminder of these business basics. And you could ask any one of our employees to rattle off our core values. Regularly reward to those core values we hire and fire to them. And I think it's incredibly important. It's like having that on your wall makes it real, but it's also a constant reminder of who you are as an organization and what everybody is there to accomplish. So I love that you keyed into those.
Yeah.
If you haven't written a mission statement before. We have a template that we're going to link in the description, but if you need extra coaching there, this is what Tracy and her team are incredible at doing, is getting you past these business basics, getting you into the financial fluency. Definitely reach out to her and her team for some support there. If you've never done this before, you're not by yourself. I don't know, Tracy, is there any other, key nuggets or advice that if somebody's listening to this, if they're manifesting, this is my financial fluency year, this is where I want to go, what should they be doing right now?
Well, so definitely reach out to me because that's exactly what I do. And know that the overarching goal of becoming financially fluent is not to get an MBA in finance. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's to know only what you need to know on the most simple terms. So right now, if anyone has that like icky feel of, I don't like numbers, that's not why I got into business, none of this is anything that I've ever been interested in, nor will I ever be interested in, and I would like to just outsource it to my bookkeeper, CPA, CFO, I want to bring you back to the center here and say, hey, no, in fact, there is a certain level of financial fluency that you as the leader have to have for maximum success. And the good news is it's very simple. And I am not dumbing this down. There's 3 steps to becoming financially fluent. If I could do it, I do not have a BA or an MBA in finance. I'm literally an of the people entrepreneur. If I got here, so can you. In fact, I was like dead set against learning this stuff and I did it anyway. And it has only ever catapulted to me to levels of success I didn't think were possible. So I would just say, take a deep breath and know that there is a really easy way to learn this stuff and it's going to make sense for you. You just give it a little bit of time. That's why it's called 60 Minute CFO. It's meant to give you a 60-minute habit per month that provides you with the insights and analysis that your company needs to be set up for success.
Amazing. I want to say thank you for being here, Tracy. This was like absolutely packed in gold, and I could spend hours sitting here chatting with you about this. The other thing is you could enter to get a free signed copy of Tracy's book. We have her book plus 10 more must reads from our 2026 Smart Mover book bundle collection. You just go to smartmoving.com or grab the link in the description. You can enter to win these books. These are the books that should be on every mover's shelf. Tracy, I know you have some free financial tools on your website, right?
So if you go to 60minutecfo.com and you click downloads, that is the master template, this Excel template that will do all of the ratio analysis for you. And there's tons of directions packed in there, and it will walk you through how to get some key insights from your business without paying any money. You can just spend some time to do that. If you want help or guidance or any of that good stuff, I have a membership that you can join, and that is where I show up and have regular office hours, answer all your questions. If you want to go one step further and participate in an exact trends analysis and then get the industry benchmarks for your company, you can click on Moving Benchmarks, and you can see there is where you will get some real one-on-one insights into your company. And then if it's a right fit for you, you can also click on the Driven group. And if you want to be considered for some of our really high impact coaching groups, those are also moving specific and available. But the first place to start would probably be with that template. See how far you get. And that is all for free under downloads.
Amazing. Thank you, Tracy, for just dispensing all of this amazing knowledge and being with us today. And to everyone, thanks for watching Smart Talk. I'll see you next time.